Hello everyone, it's Cassie. Welcome back for another Miss Ink Stamps video. Let's jump right into what we're using in our video today. We have the Feline Spooky Stamp Set. I am all about the Halloween cards right now, and this one is just too cute not to ink up. I'm also bringing in our Halloween Mandala stencil. It is round and cool. It's got pumpkins and spiderwebs and bats, and it's just, I love it. It's such a cool stencil. And then a favorite of mine is our Ins and Outs, and this one is the Marquis. So we are going to bring in some watercolor paper and get started on our background, and I am so excited with how this one turned out. I decided I was going to make a 5x7 card, and these stencils are more designed for A2, but they're super easy to use with the bigger ones as well. So I've cut down my cardstock to be 4.5 inches by 6.5 inches, so it's about a ½ inch on each side, or total half. It's a 5x7 is obviously a 5x7, so this one is a ½ inch shorter. And so all I'm doing is lining this up on my glass mat. I have some Post-it tape that I am sticking down on that side just to make sure that I don't get any ink transfer over on those parts of our watercolor paper. And then I am going to carefully pick this up and put this into my makeshift splatter box. I've brought in one of the Tim Holtz Halloween mica sprays, but this one is one of the older ones from last year. There is something similar, I believe, that was just recently released, but this one is the flickering candle, and I have just lightly spritzed that through that Marquis stencil. And there are 3 parts to the stencil. We're going to use each one of those parts. So I'm going to dry that background a little bit. I'm going to peel off the stencil, clean that off, and then we're going to line it right back up. Now that everything is nice and dry and our stencil is cleaned off, we'll put that tape back on, and then we're going to bring in our Tonic platform and then tack everything down using some magnets, because as I like to do, I like to double up those stencils a little bit, and I love the look you can get just doing that. So there's a lot of potential for these Marquis stencils to make all kinds of backgrounds. I'm bringing in some black soot, and I'm going to blend that black soot through the Halloween mandala. And then once I pull that away, you're going to see how cool that looks. So it's only in that one area where the flickering candle mica spray was. So I'll put that stencil away. We're done with this stencil, so we'll move that out of the way. Oh, and then we're going to bring in the mask. So isn't that cool? I'll bring in some more of that Post-it tape and just kind of tack down the mask. And then I am going to use some Uncharted Mariner. And I decided to use the Distress Oxide for 2 reasons. One, I don't have just the plain Distress ink in Uncharted Mariner, but also the Distress Oxides give such a creamy look, and it is just so, I don't know, it's just different. So I have spread that all over that background. If I peel away the mask, take a look at that. That looks pretty cool. So then I'm going to bring in the last part of our Marquis stencil and tack that down again. Very easy to line up. And then we're going to bring in some more of that black soot so I can frame up that one area a little bit better. It's so cool. I love this. And it's a flat background with just using stencils. So then we'll move our stencil out of the way, and you can see just how cool that background is. Hard to believe that we made all of that just using a few stencils and some masks. Okay, I have got to do splatter because, yeah, and so I've brought in a silver paint, and I'm just splattering that all over our background, and I am very generous with that. It doesn't look like a whole lot now, but I'll show you. I'll pull it up to the camera, and you can see that sparkly goodness. It is absolutely gorgeous. Take a look at that. So much splatter, and it is beautiful. So we're going to set that off to the side to dry, and we'll stamp our Feline Spooky stamp. We're going to use the main image. I'm going to ink that up with some Memento TUXEDO black ink, stamp that down onto some Express It cardstock because we are going to color these with alcohol markers. And I'm only going to show you a couple of the cats. I know that because this is Halloween, typically you would color them like black cats, but I can't. I have to be true to myself, right? So we're going to do these as Siamese. This first one is going to be like my Miles, who is a blue point. He is more of a, the gray colors, the warm grays. So I've put down an E50, then we brought in the W4 and some W6, and then I will go backwards and blend those out. Our other 2 cats are going to be seal point. I am coloring those to look like my cat and then my mother-in-law's cat. because again, I have to be true to myself. And I think this stamp set looks super cute as these guys being some Siamese, although I've seen him as the black cats, and I think those are really cute too. I could see doing these as any color cat, because why not? Halloween's for everybody. All right, so this one, like I said, is the seal point. So again, we'll start with our wash of E50, and then I'm going to bring in E84 is going to be my mid-tone. And then we're going to bring in some E87. That will be my darkest shade. And then once again, once we get that on, we will work backwards just to try and blend everything out a tiny bit. And then I'm not going to show you the coloring of the other one because it's the exact same as this one. And then once I get all that blended, we'll have to color their eyes. And so I chose a blue color because the Siamese have blue eyes. This is a B24. Worked perfect. And then for our hats, I've got some C6, and we're also going to use some C8. That as the cool tones of our grays to try to give each of those hats a black color. So we'll do that for all those hats. Then, like I said, bring in that C8, and then we will blend it out again with our C6. And then our little mouse will be some W1. And then I've decided, because our background is that yellow and blue and black, that we will bring in those colors into here. So we're going to use yellow here. I don't have it up on the screen very well. There's a Y35, and then we brought in some Y26 as our darker color. Then for our Bs, we've got B34, and then our final blue is going to be some B37, and then we'll blend that backwards as well because that is a bit of a contrast. That's what I love about alcohol markers, is you can blend them. And then for a final touch, I'll bring that silver paint back in, and we'll color around the buckle on this hat and then the stripes on this one. And then of course I need to fussy cut that out. And then I'll bring in our sentiment, which says, "You're the cat's meow." Now I love that sentiment. I imagine I'll probably send this card to my son. We actually tell each other, "You're the cat's pajamas," but I love "You're the cat's meow" as well. So I stamped that down onto some white cardstock, and then I'm just going to trim that down using my guillotine trimmer. And I chose to do the white because it would be a good contrast with all that was going on that background. And I'll cut a little angle here. And then I've got to put some foam tape all over the back of our sentiment and the back of our cats. But before I start attaching those down, I'll use some liquid glue to attach down our watercolor panel to our KRAFT background. That background is what measures 5 by 7, and so that's going to fit perfectly on the top of my 5 by 7 card base. Miles had to come in and inspect. He always does. So I'll peel off the release paper that I have all over our background. He is too funny. He is, and some of you have called him the quality control. So I think he's okay with it. Then we'll put down our sentiment as well. And then we do need to put a little something something on the inside of our card. So I'm going to grab the one cat, and we're going to stamp him using our Uncharted Mariner Distress Oxide. And then I'm going to grab the one sentiment that says "Happy Meowloween." It's too cute. And just stamp that on the inside. Then we can attach down our panel to our base using that same liquid glue. And then when we're done with that, that's going to finish off our card for today. And if you hear the jingling, that is Miles, once again, quality control with the voiceover. All right, so there it is. I love how this card turned out. I love that they're non-traditional, and that's fun. So if you like this video, be sure to hit that like button, and definitely consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. Thank you for watching and all the ways that you all support me. It keeps me producing videos, and I really appreciate it. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon.